Shalom to the nation of Israel. This is Barzal coming in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Raha Kodash. Double honors to the apostle, great millstone, and to the whole full life pushing his word and truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This is going to be a quick one. Well, I'm going to try to make it quick, but it's about having no guile, right? Which is lying. Okay. Psalm 34:13. Keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. Right? So what does the word guile mean? Let's look it up. Look it up. See what the blue letter says.
Strong's H 4820. Mirma. Mirma.
Mirma. Deceit. Treachery. And it also goes deceit, deceitful, deceitfully, false, guile, feign, craft, subtlety, treachery, right? And then let's see if we can get, also check here, guile, deceit, wile, fraud, ruse, trickery, right? Trick, ruse, and then it goes also into witchcraft, sorcery, shrewdness, as demonstrated as being skilled in deception, craftiness, cunning, foxiness, slyness, willness, the quality of being crafty, deceitfulness, trickery, right? So right, it says, keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. So you want to keep your lips from speaking guile, speaking treachery, deceit, right? And the reason why is that can lead you to keep doing it, right? You're not supposed to be relying on lying, using tricks and tactics. You're not supposed to be relying on that. That just depends on the scenario, if it calls for that. But that's not what you're supposed to be relying on, right? Because you're just going to get yourself into trouble and you're going to start doing it all the time. Right? That's why he says, keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. Right? Then you'll also become a compulsive liar and not even realize that you're lying all the time. Because you use lying as a way to get what you want, which is not what you're supposed to be doing. Right? Psalms 32:2. Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord Yahweh imputeth not iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no guile. Right? So you're not supposed to be lying. Now, with that being said, right, you can also see in the scriptures where, for example, Samson with Delilah, or basically with women, he used guile, right? But the way he did it, right, it's kind of like he was withholding information, right? So there's a way to do it where you're not really lying, right? And from what I read and what I see, it usually has to deal with women, because women, you can't give them all the information. They don't have wisdom to, like, you know, take what you're saying and use it in a right manner. They don't have that ability. Most I didn't give them that. This is why you can't tell them everything. It's just the reality. You can't do that, right? Because look what happened when Samson told her. Look what happened. Because she has no guidance, no understanding of what's right or wrong, she went and told the Philistines. He came and killed him. This guy ended up getting killed. Most High had mercy on him at the end, but he knew not to do that, because you're not supposed to tell them. You're not supposed to tell them anything, right? But that's the only scenario where, you know, it's okay to do that. But even then, you don't want to just straight up lie about something. You know, you have to be smart. You have to be wise, right? Because the scriptures tell you not to lie. So, okay, if I can't lie, I can withhold information. I don't have to tell you this right now. Or let's say you ask me a question like, you know, for example, people ask you, did you get the yab? You know, did you get the yab? It's like, yeah, I have my code. And when I say code, I mean, like, you know, your passport. It's like, yeah, I got my passport. Right? I didn't say I got the yab. But I said I got my passport, so they can fill the lines in between and take it as if I got the yap to get the passport. That's up to them. But I didn't lie, right? So that's a way where you can, like, not do that, because you don't want to lie, right? That's where you have to refrain from lying because it's not good. It just leads you to keep lying, and you're lying all the time about everything. Lying has to be like, that tactic has to be a last resort, right? You don't want to lie. And if it comes down to it, where you can't even use that tactic like I just explained, they just tell the truth and let the Most High deal with it, right? Because like it's going to come to a point of time where, I don't mean to talk too much, but this is important to know. Like when you get to, when the beast starts really showing its horns, not that it hasn't already, but it's not as extreme as it's going to be. It's going to get turned up, like Apostle Harwood says. So when it gets turned up, and then, let's say they come to your door and like, hey, are you part of that Israelite thing? Are you going to lie then? Right? But if you've been lying the whole time, practicing the skill of lying, you're going to lie because you're afraid, because you don't want to deal with the scenario. You're trying to find a way out using craftiness and tricks instead of just being straightforward and being honest. And be like, yeah, I am part of it. Because Yahweh Shem Shai, is not going to deal with someone who is lying all the time. Because he tells you not to lie. Right? Because that's deceit. That's treachery. That's craftiness. Now you are supposed to be as subtle as a snake and harmless as a dove. Right? So we're supposed to know when to do that. Right? So that comes to skill, but the main thing is like, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be lying in every single scenario, using tricks and tactics to get out of scenarios instead of just dealing with the scenario. Right? Because it leads to that becomes your habit, which is, it's not good, which is going to be harder to break. It's just like someone who smokes all the time, starts smoking once, they say, oh, I'm just going to do it one time. They kept doing it again and again and again. And now it's a habit. It's a hard habit that you have years and years and years of doing. So it takes harder to break, right? Okay, so let's keep going. Exodus 21:14. But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, right? Thou shalt take him from mine altar that he may die. So look, the Most High is telling you he's not about that. He's not about lying, guile, trickery. He's not about that. Right? He doesn't like it. But like I said, like I explained those scenarios, there's situations where you can use where you can withhold information. You just don't have to tell the person. It's like, look, I'm not telling you this. You're not ready for this. Or answer the question in a different way. Right? Because you have to use wisdom too, because the person might not be ready for this information. For me, like I'll just tell them, like, look, you're not ready for this information yet. That's just how I operate, right? Or I'll tell you, I'll tell them when I will tell them like, or I'll tell you when you're ready. You're not ready yet. Because someone might want to hear something, but you're not ready, right? It might be something that they have to hear, and you have to tell them, right? Maybe it's going to hurt their feelings or whatever the case may be, but you have to tell them. So I'm not going to lie to make you feel better. I'm not doing that. That's not. I'm not in here to make you feel better. I'm here to tell you the truth, right? But you have to know when to tell the truth to this person because you might not be ready, right? So that, that's a skill. Anyway, Psalms 55:11, wickedness is in the midst thereof, deceit and guile depart not from her streets. So that's in the world, right? The world is full of wickedness and deceit and guile, right? But notice how it mentions deceit and guile in this scripture. They're hand in hand with wickedness because it's not good. It's not a good thing, right? Like withholding information is just a smart way to not tell someone the truth because they're not ready for it. They can't handle it. But I'm not gonna. If someone asks me a straight up question, and I give an answer contrary to that question that they just asked me, then I'm lying. But if I answer it in a different way, right, like I just explained, then I'm not lying. John 1:47, Yahushai said, John 1:47, Yahushai saw Nathanael coming to him and saith of him, behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile. Right? So you don't want to be a liar. That's not a good trait to have. Someone who lies all the time. to get out of scenarios, right? You don't want to be that person. This is going to get you into trouble. You're going to be lying all the time because you don't want to deal with the scenario because you're afraid to deal with it. So you're going to lie. Now, you can obviously recover yourself from doing that. So if you lied, you know, the best way out of that is just to admit, like, hey, I was actually lying. You know, I was actually afraid of how you're going to react to what I was saying. So I lied. Right? That's a way of repenting from that. Second Corinthians 12, Slack 12 and 16. Okay, 2 Corinthians 12 and 16. But be it so, I did not burden you. Nevertheless, being crafty, I caught you with guile. So this is Paul talking to them in Corinth about how he caught them with using guile. So he lied to them. He actually lied. Now, people will read this like, well, see, you can lie. See, Paul did it. Yeah, but if you read the context of the way he's talking, he's not happy about what he did, right? Because he knows he's not supposed to do that, right? He knows he's not supposed to be lying and using craft to bring people in the truth. You're not supposed to do that. You can withhold information. You can tell them about this, and this about the truth. And if they take that, then you give them more. Then you give them more. And you give them more. It's like fishing. But you don't want to trick them. You don't want to do that. Because that's not what the truth is about. It's not about trickery. That's a wrong message that you're sending to this person. Because if they get in the truth and then something happens to them, right? And he's like, oh, well, I asked you about this and you told me this and that. You told me something contrary to this. And now you're a liar. And you might make that person fall out because of the way you brought them in. Right? So you can't lie. Lying's not good. It's not a good thing. That's why you can see Paul he's repenting in the way he's talking. He's sorrowful about what he did. You know? Right? If you read the whole thing. Right? Now, luckily for them, you know, luckily if you bring someone through guile and they're actually one of the, well, we don't know who the elect are, but one of the hopeful elect, and they just actually grow in this thing, and you know, you actually caught someone who was meant to be in here. But that's not, that's a very dangerous game that you're playing. Remember, because Yahweh Shem is watching you too. And he's telling you not to use trickery, not to use guile, not to use deceit, but you're using it. So, hey, whether sooner or later, you're going to have to pay the piper, so to speak. Right? You're going to be judged for it. So, you know, because that's mercy that someone actually grows in the truth, you know, whatever. You know, I don't mean whatever, Slack, but like they grow in the truth and they become seasoned in the truth. You know, they grow and they actually stay and they get rooted. Right? Because you don't know that. But the best thing is to be straightforward. You be straightforward. You tell them this, and this. If they ask a question about this, right? You tell them, it's either you can withhold the information or you just be straight up and tell them. Right? It's like, maybe you're not ready for this. But if they straight up ask me a question, I'm going to tell them, like, this is the answer to that. Right? If they don't ask that question, then I have no answer to give them. Right? 2 Corinthians, Slack. We're going to 1 Thessalonians. Getting a little excited about that because, like, or heated, I should say, not excited. But lying's not a good thing, man. It's not good. Because you do it for one thing, because really what comes down to why people lie is because they don't want to deal with what's happening. They don't want to be straightforward because of how it might make them feel, right? And what they might have to deal with telling the truth. So they lie, right? Yeah, we're dealing with a woman and stuff, you know, withhold information. I just tell them, like, look, you're not ready for this, right? I'll tell you later. Not right now, right? Or I'll answer the question like the way I answered it. Like, if you ask me, did you get the yab? I was like, yeah, I got my passport. Now, did I lie? No. Right? Because if they asked me, I got the yab, and I said I did, and then they later find out that I actually didn't, then I lied. That's a lie. You lied. Now you can come back and always say, well, I did that because you're not ready to hear this. Sure, you can do that, but now they're going to see you as a liar, right? They're not going to really trust what you're saying because now when they ask a question, they don't know if you're lying or not, right? So you got to be smart. You got to be smart. Use wisdom. 1 Thessalonians 2:3, for our exhortation was not of deceit, nor of uncleanness, uncleanliness, nor in guile, right? So being the truth, when we're exhorting, we're not using deceit, we're not using uncleanliness or guile. Uncleanness, there we go, slack. We're not using uncleanness nor guile, right? We just speak the truth. This is the truth. This is how the truth is. This is what it's about. Right? Because maybe you never know. Somebody might ask a deep question, and he's like, yo, you're not ready for that answer. Right? You drink the milk first, then we'll give you the meat later if you can handle it. Right? But, that comes with experience, like elders and apostles and they're teaching young brothers younger. Sometimes they might not tell you something. He's like, you're not ready for that. But he's not lying to you. He's just saying you're not ready. Because he knows more than you. 1 Peter 2:1, wherefore laying aside all malice and all guile. So let me read it again. Wherefore laying aside all malice and all guile and all hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings. You're supposed to laying aside. Okay. 1 Peter 3:10. For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil and his lips that they speak no guile. Right? So what does the word refrain mean? Refrain. Refrain.
Strong's G 3973. Power.
To make, to cease or desist, to restrain a thing or person from something, to cease, to leave off, right? Have got released from sin, no longer stirred by, right? So those were the ones to make, to cease or desist, to restrain a thing or person from something, to cease, to leave off, right? So that's what the word means. So you're not supposed to be using it. Like I said, there was only one instance that you can see that is when Paul did it, and he was repenting for what he said because he was talking to us like, I use God, I'm sorry, he was talking in that context because it was wrong. It wasn't right. Right? So now with that being said, it was still his intent was still good, right? But it's not up to him to choose who comes into truth or not. Right? You tell them the truth, and whether they're part of the elect or not, it's either they're gonna take it and they're gonna grow and they're gonna they want more, or they're just gonna run away. Right? It's one or the other. But you don't want to use trickery. Don't want to do that. Last one, Revelation 14:5. Revelation 14:5, and their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Yahweh. Right? He's talking about the elect. Right? They're found with no guile. And with that being said, it doesn't mean that, oh, well, that if I've lied before, that means I'm not part of the elect. No, that's not what it's saying. Right? It's going to get to a point where, but it does get to a point where you have to stop doing that. Right? And if you do it, repent from it. You have to really take it that seriously. Right? Doesn't mean you don't want to be scared and like, oh my gosh, I've lied before. No, like I just said, right? You have to really refrain from doing that, right? Because there is mercy, because we're still not perfect and we're still in these wicked bodies, right? So there's mercy for that. Because the Most High is watching you. He's seeing if you're actually trying to not do this, and he's seeing if you are just doing it. You just don't care because you want to do it, He knows. Right? So, anyways, I hope this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect that are pushing that word in spirit and truth across the four corners of the earth. Double blessings, double honors to the apostles, great millstone that teaches this truth. Right? Death and destruction to the 2/3 of Israel and to his wicked kingdom. Right? Kwam Yasharallah, Abad Babal. Shalom. Till next time.